Hey legends, gonna show you right now how to set up the ultimate live stream for music. You could even use this for non-music performance live streams too. It's a bit of a process to set up, so let's get started. First thing that you want to do is get yourself a DAW, a digital audio workstation. I'm using Reaper. That's what I would recommend because we're using that here today. What you want to do is you want to go to the internet and you want to search for Reaper, replugs. You want to get this folder here called replugs. Just download whatever one, 32-bit or 64-bit, whatever one you're using. I think mine's 32. I've got no fucking idea actually. Now what I would suggest doing here is probably just getting rid of the 86 and just installing it into your regular program files. By default, OBS scans about 5 different folders for VST plugins, but I don't think any of those folders are in the 86 directory. Back in Reaper here, go into the effects window of the master track. Click that. You want to search here for Restream. And I think by default, Restream comes with Reaper anyway on the machine, but if you're using a different DAW, then you probably have to get the replugs and all that. If nothing comes up here too, here's a little trick. If you're looking for VST plugins and you can't find them on Reaper, you just go to Options, go down to Preferences, scroll down to VST. This is where you can set different file paths that Reaper reads the VSTs from. You just add that file path and then you rescan, or you can just go Apply, OK, close Reaper, reopen it, and it should scan when it opens the project. Now back in the effects window, it's come up here, so sweet, so let's add it in. And what we want to do here is we just want to send the audio to local broadcast. This is going to send all the master track audio to OBS. A fun little trick with this too, guys, is, Restream is a powerful tool. And if you set this to broadcast, this will allow you to send audio to a completely different computer. As long as that computer is on the same network, the same local network, you don't even have to have an internet connection. As long as it's connected together with another computer using Ethernet cables or whatever, you can set this to broadcast and you can send audio from any software that uses Restream as well. Yeah, to a completely different computer. It's great. But yeah, let's just keep this on local broadcast. Into OBS here, go to desktop audio, go to filters, go to add, go down to VST2 plugins, and we can name this one Reaper, right? And now what you want to do is go into here, and like I said before, if it's not coming up in this list here, that means OBS can't find it. Just make sure that the plugin does exist in the program files. Make sure there's a folder in there called VST plugins so that it can find it. We open up this one and we want to just leave it to receive. To receive the audio, name this Reaper as well. In the master track on Reaper, I want to name this Reaper as well. Double click to make a new track. I'm going to call this one Guitar. I will even go and color it with the color blue because blue is a nice color. What we want to make sure is we click up here. This is where we can access our audio device. Whatever device you have your guitar or drums or instrument plugged into. You click up here and you just want to make sure it's all there, right? So the audio system I'm using, the driver is ASIO. You can have these other ones. The device I have is the Helix. It runs off ASIO as well, which is just a nice low latency audio driver. Input 1, input 2, output 1, output 2, we're good there. Click OK. And now up here, you just want to click this red button here to arm the track for recording. Just arm the track and get your guitar. You can see levels there if you bring up OBS here. Now, if you don't see anything come through desktop audio here, just make sure that your properties, that your device here is whatever audio device you're using, right? All right, so we're good to go. We got our guitar coming in. We're all sweet. We're gonna create 2 more tracks. So double click twice. We're gonna call this one backing tracks. And this one, MIDI Automation. Let's go a nice orange. And MIDI Automation. I like coloring the tracks, you know, it's just nice, something nice to look at instead of gray, boring gray. We'll go the purple for this one. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna load in a backing track that we can use. Let's go with an original song of mine. So yeah, whatever backing track you want to use, just go find it in your computer, and then you just drag it in to the backing tracks here, and there you go. Sweet, okay. What I like to do is just kind of select the general area of the track there, and then you right click and you go create region from selection, or Shift R. And it creates a little region up here. So you go edit region, I'm gonna call this the fire within. And then we go to set color, let's just go orange again. And while we're here as well, we wanna go right to the end here, press M on your keyboard to set a marker. I'm gonna go edit marker, we'll set the color to orange as well, just so it looks nice. And now this is a weird thing here, but you wanna do exclamation mark 1008 and go okay. Why the hell do we have to do that? I don't really fucking know why. It's like a special code, because check this out, ready? If you have multiple tracks like that, and you didn't have this there, check out what happens, right? It just keeps on going, just keeps on playing. Soon enough, it'll get up to this one and start playing a completely different song without your authorization. So, that's what this does, man. You drag this, you put it right at the end of the track, and right at the end, boom, it stops the playhead. That took a bit of fucking time to figure out. I'll show you guys my other projects using this method. It gets pretty hairy the more tracks you get in there. All right, now we're on to MIDI automation. Basically, we're going to be able to have different events trigger at different parts of the songs, whether that's tone changes, special effects on OBS, camera changes on OBS, anything like that, we can make it trigger at certain points during the backing track. In the MIDI automation, hold down the control button to get the little pencil icon, and just click and drag a new MIDI track right there. There we go. And now what we're gonna need is a couple of programs to help us with this automation. The first one is called Loop MIDI. Just type in Loop MIDI download, hit enter, and it'll just be this first one here. This guy, Tobias, is a goddamn legend. You come up to here, download Loop MIDI, and what we wanna do is we wanna click plus to add a new MIDI port. Sweet, so that's all you have to do, just close out. Now what you might want to do is probably just restart Reaper, I think. So if we close that, we save it, make sure you save everything. Reopen it. Go to options, go to preferences, and yeah, you just want to make sure you're in the MIDI devices section here, in the preferences. And in the MIDI inputs, you just want to scroll down until you find the one you made, Loop MIDI port. And then you right click and just make sure it's enabled. You go enable input. And then in the output, you do the same thing, find Loop MIDI port, right click, and go enable output. Apply, okay. And now this is a bit that I always forget about too. We want to go down to the MIDI automation here. If you don't see this, if you don't see that thing down there, press Control M to bring it up. Alternatively, if it's not there, the routing button, that's what we want. You want to click on the route button, which down here is also here, and it brings up this window. Go to the MIDI hardware output and select Loop MIDI port, the new Loop MIDI port you made. Make sure you do this, otherwise the automation won't work. Now we have to download the second and the last program that we need today, and that is called MIDI Key to Key. So download MIDI Key to Key, click on that, Windows installer, straight away, File, New, and just create a new ini file. This is going to be like your little profile for the software. So I just got one here called tutorial. Just go MIDI devices, click loop MIDI port. So now basically Reaper is going to communicate with this software, which will in turn communicate with OBS. Because what this software does is it takes MIDI events that get fired in Reaper and turns them into hotkeys that OBS will recognize. So let's start doing it. We just go to here, we double click our new MIDI item here, and yours might look like this, a piano roll. You can zoom right in. Personally, I like to just have it on this one here. You can go up to this corner here and change how it looks. I like to have it on the middle one, which is named notes. So you can scroll right down the bottom and start at 0. Double right click to edit the field. Let's type in the name OBS. We're going to first set up the ability to jump between programs while playing our songs. The way I use this is I access my Helix software so I can jump between tones. You know, change to my lead tone when the solo comes up, change back to the rhythm afterwards. So automated tone changing, but I have to jump between OBS and this to make it work, you know? But also, check this out. So if you go to here, if you have Shift 1, for instance, that does something on OBS, Shift 1 in Reaper actually does that. So you can kind of make a bit of a mess of things if you aren't on OBS as the active window, firing hotkeys and stuff. So yeah, let's do that. Let's set up OBS as the first hotkey. We're going to drag the taskbar here. The way that we change between windows is the window key and then the numbers. So window 1, 2, 3, 4. I might just move this one here. So I'm going to have OBS, my Helix, and maybe Reaper, right? Now down here, so MIDI to key, the MIDI key to key program, if you can, just close it right now and then go back to it here. I found a problem as I was trying to do this tutorial video. I found a bit of an issue. So we have to actually run MIDI key to key in admin mode. Otherwise, for some reason, the Windows key to change between these windows, it's like it just holds it down like a virtual key press, but keeps it held down for some reason. It's so weird. And I was scratching my head trying to figure it out. But yeah, we just have to make sure we run in admin mode. And now you can go into properties here and go to compatibility and then just select this here, run this program as administrator, so that every time you load it up, it's just gonna be in admin mode. So come up there and then you go yes. And at the start of every stream that you do, you know, you're gonna have to make it part of your checklist here that you just gotta make sure you click start to start listening. So first thing you wanna do is click start to start listening. This is gonna listen to some keys that are pressed on the piano roll here. So we press OBS. Actually, I might, just minimize that. Bring that up there. So it's coming up with data there. So we press it again. And so it's registering the MIDI keys, which is great. And so we want to click on this one here with 127. Velocity 127 just means the velocity of this note here is at 127. You know, if you bring it right down to like 50 in the green zone, you can think of it like drums, like a low velocity is going to be like a low hit on the drum. It's going to be a low sounding hit, low volume, low impact, whereas 127 is like the hardest you could hit the drum. Yeah, let's go to 127 here, double click it. It's going to come up with this. It's got the data of the MIDI event there. And this bit here is where you put in the hotkeys. So you could put, you know, if you're doing other hotkeys, Control 1 or Control 2, Control 3, whatever. So it registers the key number 1 as D1. That's something to keep in mind. What we want to do is the Windows key. The Windows key to change between these programs here. To do Windows key, it even says right there, L-Win. So the left window key, so L-Win, and then we do plus, and then D1. We're going to name it OBS, nice and easy. Then we go save. And then you should be able to see it here, OBS. And then you can edit it again if you want to. When we hit play, it should automatically open up OBS as soon as it comes over that MIDI note right there. Boom. Just like that. One thing that's a bit tricky as well is because if I click on this, right, it's going to bring OBS up. So what I like to do is when I edit all this stuff is I actually just do stop listening so that you can move this stuff around without it going off. So OBS, we'll put it right at the start there. So what you could do if you're streaming and you're like, okay, cool, we're gonna play the file within. You select there, you press play, or maybe you give yourself a bit of time. We can do some automation later, some voice control automation that will, you can just say something in the microphone like play the file within, and then it'll automatically go here, it'll press play for you. And then by the time it gets to this point, when you start listening, and then when it hits that note, comes back to here. So yeah, that's a little bit tricky, a little bit weird to get your head around. Now see, like MIDI key to key, looks like it's not open right now, but it is, it's down here. You end up opening up another, I think a new window if you did that again, right? So just click it there to bring it back, and we can start building the other stuff now. If I open up OBS here, I got my cameras here. And then I got my scenes here. Ground camera, the main camera. And I've just nested the cameras in the scenes so that we can add special effects that adjust for those cameras and those angles respectively. So back in Reaper here, we want to go, maybe we'll give ourselves some room here for other software that you might want to put here. So we'll start at 10 and we'll go scene 1 and then scene 2. Bring up MIDI key to key, which is down here. And we go start, scene 1, scene 2. And let's do shift 1, and we'll name this scene 1 as well. And save that. And then we go up to this one, double click, shift 2 for scene 2. Let's now go into OBS here, go to settings, go to hotkeys, scroll down to the scenes, switch to scene, shift 1 for scene 1, shift 2 for scene 2, apply, okay. We go back to Reaper. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just stop listening here so we can put in these changes. Let's find where the scene transition is going to happen. So I think around this spot here will be good to change the scene. Yeah, right, because it builds up right there. So right there, right there would be good to go to scene 2, which is the ground camera. Add some impact to it, So scene 2 here, about there. You just move it around until you get the perfect timing for it. I reckon just a little bit back, right there. That should be good, I reckon. So we start on the main scene, right? And we're gonna see it transition to scene 2. So let's turn it on, let's start it. When I was doing these streams, I would have Reaper kind of like taking up half the screen on my other monitor. So I always had OBS kind of in front of me there. So we got it side by side. We can hit play. Active window OBS. And then later on, just like that. And so I use this same method to go to Helix, this Helix software. Now the great thing with this software is when you go into these tones here, so I've got my rhythm tone, my lead tone, flange, but you see next to it says Control 1, Control 2, so they have their own hotkeys in the software to change those tones. So that's what I was doing in here. Go OBS, and I'd have, Helix here. And then, I'd have lead tone, rhythm tone, and then just assign those Control 1, Control 2, whatever, to there. So it would go like, go Helix, and then lead, and then back to OBS. Hold down Control and drag, copy, paste, and then move this lead one down to rhythm to change it back to rhythm. And so yeah, you just build your piano roll with all kinds of things you want to do, and then at certain points in the song, you kind of punch them in. Okay, what I'll do now is I'll show you guys how to do like a special effects thing, flame spiral for this one. And let's get that there. There it is. Double click it. Call it flame spiral. Just do Shift 3. But yeah, there we go. We got the flame spiral in there now. And I reckon it'll be cool. We could chuck it right on as it changes to scene 2 there. So yeah, just like that, just right after it. Let's bring this back up. So that's why we have these other cameras here. So we go to camera 2 and we want to add the effect here. Media source, flame, spiral. Let's browse for it. There it is. So we got explosion, spiral, flame, long. That's the one. So we go okay. And whoa, there it is. Now we want to drag this down, put it behind me here. It does make some sound here. What does it sound like? Oh yeah, sweet. Yeah, we'll keep the sound. We'll fade it out for 3,000 milliseconds. So it fades out nicely there, right? We want to have it hidden by default. So we go back into Reaper here. Maybe like around here. We'll do it again, right? So it's going to activate it. It's going to turn it off. The way we do that is back in here. We go settings, we go hotkeys, we go find the flame spiral, camera 2 here. So show and hide flame spiral. Shift 3 to show it, and Shift 3 to hide it. And it should work fine. There it is. Just like that. So yeah, you just activate it and then deactivate it using the same hotkey, and it's all set up through here, and it works fucking great. So one last thing that you probably want to do is go up to File and go to Note CC Names, and then go Save Note CC Names to File. Just save it somewhere safe. And then when you load up new projects, you know, you can go load, and you can load the file right there. And I mean, you don't want to lose the progress too, because it takes a long time to fill all these keys out with different events. One last thing that I'm going to show you how to do is automation of starting the music here. So you can say into your microphone, you know, play the file within, and then we'll go to Reaper and it will start playing it for you. And so to do that, we go into actions here and we go to show action list. This is basically Reaper's own little hotkey automation system. And so if we go to something like Afterlife, go edit. So here we go. We got all the actions that you can possibly do in this software, and then we can create our own little list here. And so for Afterlife, for one of my songs, it goes to region number 2, and then it does the play button. And then so assigned to Afterlife is the shortcut Alt-1. So when Reaper is in focus, if we press Alt-1, it goes to region number 2 and plays. But that's on my other project, so we got this new one here. So let's try and quickly make one for this new one. We just go, I guess, new action here, new custom action, delete, just make sure that's empty there. I'm gonna call this tutorial, just so it doesn't conflict with my other one called the file within. We're gonna search, go to region, and then here it is here, go to region 1 after current region finishes playing. And there we go, and then we just find play, I think. Should find it here. Transport play. The transport is this here, is this whole, it's how you transport around the project basically. So play, drag that in there, go okay. So then you select it, and you can select any one of these, but you so select tutorial, and we're going to add the hotkey Alt-1. Boom. This key is already mapped for Afterlife. Override it? Yes. And if we like over here somewhere and we do Alt-1, it automatically plays it. Oh yeah. Now the reason why I didn't go to OBS then is because I have this off. So we go start listening, and then we go Alt 1. Boom. Alright, I'm going to show you guys 2 ways now how to set up the automation to start the music. The first way is using the Stream Deck. The second way is going to be using your voice. So let's quickly bang out the Stream Deck one. Now, what I found though is I've had to run the Stream Deck also in administrator mode. Like I've had to actually go down here and like quit. Go down here and quit the Stream Deck and reopen in administrator mode for this to work. I've had a lot of funny things like that where everything has had to be in admin mode. So if anything isn't working for you guys, just try running the software, everything that we're doing in admin mode, and hopefully it works. I've had moments where admin mode actually caused problems too. So yeah, it just depends on how it's going for you basically. But anyway, cool. We got Stream Deck open. So we're gonna go create new folder, and we are going to call this something like music player. Double click, go in there, right click, go create multi-action. And now we want to type in up in the search bar here, hotkey, and drag hotkey into the multi-action. Go down here, and then we have Reaper on Windows 3 here, so we do left window key 3. And that's the hotkey to go to that window. And then we want to add probably just a little delay. So type in delay in the search bar, drag in delay. 1 second delay should be fine. And then we can just copy this hotkey up here, paste it below. And you know, you can drag and drop these around. So we want one below, and let's just remove the title. And then we'll do Alt 1, which is going to start the song. So now, we minimize this, and we go back to OBS here, and now we're going to hit the hotkey, and it should play the song for us automatically. Perfect, there we go. So what that's done is basically, it's done Windows 3, which brings this window up. It did Alt 1, which plays. It got up to the MIDI note here, which brings us back to OBS, so that we can fire off any other hotkeys during our performance. You probably want to name this, maybe the song name like that. The Fire Within, and you know, you can have a whole bunch of them then. And that's a nice, easy way to do it at your fingertips. For the voice automation, this way might seem a little complicated at first, but it's pretty straightforward. We are going to need another program though, called StreamerBot. It is probably the most powerful streaming tool that you could ever want. There's so much you can do with it. It's free to download. There'll be a link in the description for that too. I know it looks a bit intimidating here. You know, I've got all these different commands going on, but let me just keep it nice and clean here. We'll go add new command, and we'll just call this play the Fire Within. And we'll group this in music player. So it creates a new group called music player. So now we open up Notepad. This is where it gets a bit fucking weird, man. Took some time to figure this shit out, but I want to put this line of code in, and this is a system called VBS, and I know it looks weird. I'll put this in the description for you guys to copy and paste easily. I'll even just zoom in a bit so you can see what's going on. So this key right here, that symbolizes the control key. And then plus, I think, is shift, and then we got F9 in the brackets there. Now, unfortunately, this VBS system doesn't have the Windows key as an option, but let me bring this up here. I'm gonna put this link in the description for you guys too. This has all the different keys that we can use with this VBS system for just essentially one hotkey that we want to do, and that is Alt Tab. So we just gotta find Alt is percentage. So we're gonna get rid of this control and put Alt, the percentage sign, and then we gotta find tab. So we look for tab. Tab is just tab. Get rid of the plus sign, and we put tab in capital letters right there. So Alt tab, and we're gonna save this. You just put it wherever you want, like put it somewhere safe. I'm just gonna call this hotkey. You can call it whatever you want, but instead of .text, we're gonna do .VBS, and then save that. That's it there. We can close that. We go to these sub actions here. We go perform command, and then we click there in the command section, wherever you save that file, and there it is, hotkey VBS. Select that, and then we just go OK, and that's gonna trigger Alt Tab whenever we need it to. And we can do this. We can add another hotkey here, and that is Alt 1. That's to start the song. We probably also want to add a delay of like 1000 milliseconds, probably between those two, just so that they don't get fired like at the exact same time, because it's both using the Alt key might kind of fuck things up a little bit. It's good to have a bit of delay there. That should be okay, because that's going to do Alt Tab, which if we have both of this here, if we have OBS open on one side and Reaper open on another screen, and we are in scene 1, if we do Alt Tab, it automatically makes Reaper the next active window. So Alt Tab, and then we'll fire Alt 1, and then Alt 1 will bring us back to OBS again. It's a weird little juggling game that we have to play here. But I've run into many mistakes of, having something else open, like maybe like StreamerBot or like Spotify or something, and then I'm over here. Oh, sorry, so I got like StreamerBot open on OBS, and then I do Alt Tab, and then it goes back here, and I'm like, fuck, the song's not gonna play. So yeah, it can get a little bit annoying, but if you're just bouncing between these two programs playing music, it's pretty good. It works, does a good job. So how do we get it connected to our voice? Nice and easy. Let me just do that. So go to voice control, go to settings. You want to go to your audio input device, so your microphone that you use for streaming. Find that on the list. Select that. Go start listening. And then to commands here, you want to go add, play the file within. And the command here, you can just do the exact same thing, but you want to make sure you don't do any spelling mistakes here. So this is what StreamerBot is going to listen to before it does the command through your microphone. So do play the file within. And then the action you want to do is play the file within. Right there. Boom. And so we go OK, and we save it, and we minimize that. We make sure these are the two active windows, and we can try this now. Play the file within. And when it's not working. So I was trying this before and it wasn't working. It was bugging out, something was wrong. I said it word for word, and you can access the log up here. And you can see, I said it right there. Play the file within. And yeah, it just wasn't working before. What I ended up doing is just I closed Reaper, I closed OBS, I closed StreamerBot, just reopened them all, and now it's working. Maybe it was just the restarting of the applications that was necessary. But yeah, it's all working now. So if we go here, we can test it one more time. Play the file within. Goes to Reaper, plays it, comes back to OBS. Later on. Oh, we can add this one too, right? Maybe over here, we can quickly add back to scene 1. Right there. there you go. That is the basics, the foundation of a nice production stream. You got your cameras, your scenes, your automation, the voice control. Hopefully it will be okay for you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll try my best to help you out. Hopefully others are there to help as well. I look forward to seeing, what people do with this. And the best thing is, man, you can just load this with all kinds of tracks, all kinds of things. You could even just have, like a piece of music and have all these cool scenes in OBS and link it up to hotkeys and have a cool cinematic fucking movie play out, basically. So yeah, man, you can do so much with it. I hope you guys have fun with it. If it works for you and you got a lot out of this video, please share the video. And yeah, if you want to check me out on twitch.tv/Grym, I play some original songs there, some cover songs as well. Gojira, Death, Trivium, Metallica, Lamb of God, all the good stuff. So see you guys there. Have fun.